Hey everybody, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil, and this is the Week 9 injury recap. Guys, we made it through Week 9. I know a few of y'all may have injuries, and we're going to go over those in just a few minutes. But today, remember, is the most important day in this nation. That's right, it is NFL trade deadline day. 4 o'clock Eastern time was the deadline, and I wanted to hold off doing this show just to make sure that all the deals had happened, that we were able to talk about them here, that we were able to walk through them. A couple of big deals, well, not really big deals, but some deals did get done today, and we're going to go over those in just a minute. But remember, if you're watching this prior to the close of the polls, all joking aside, please make sure that you went to vote. If you did, great. Thank you. Congratulations for exercising your right as an American to have a voice in our government. And guys, I want you to remember what the Bible says about where our faith should lie. A lot of people around this time of year, or around this time when it becomes election time, we put our faith in people. We put our faith in leaders and powerful people. And that's not where we need to be concentrating our hope and our dreams upon. It is important who's in office, but it's more important who puts them in office. And I'm not talking about the American people, I'm talking about God. Remember, God, all his wisdom and all of his glory, he knows the game, the end game that he is going for. He knows his plans. We don't. I was at the polls earlier today with my wife, and yeah, I had a conversation with some people outside the polls, and they were voting for the same candidate that we were, and they were saying, hey, we're praying that they get in, and we're praying that this country turns around and things like that. And I reminded them that it's important that we remember that just because this election doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go, whichever side you're on, that's not what's important. We don't always agree with or understand the plans that God has for us. Remember those times when you were a kid and you were doing stupid stuff, and you look back now and you learned a lesson from that. Well, God allowed you to go through that season of doing really dumb things to teach you patience, understanding, whatever it was that you learned from that. So I want you to remember as you walk through the rest of this election season, the last few hours of the election season and beyond, in the next 2 years when we turn over Congress, and then 2 years after that when we get another new president. Okay, so I want you to remember Psalms 146 verses 3 through 5. And this is how it reads. Don't put your confidence in powerful people. There is no help for you there. That's a mouthful in and of itself. Remember that there is no help for you putting your trust in the powerful people. Look, they're going to do what they're going to do, and you don't have control over that. What you do have control over is who you're putting your faith in. So it says, don't put your confidence in powerful people. There is no help for you there. Verse 4, when they breathe their last, they return to the earth, and all of their plans die with them. But joyful are those who have the God of Israel as their helper, though whose hope is in the Lord their God. Guys, remember, God knows his plans that he has for you. He knows what's in store for you. He knows what's coming in the next 4 years. There's not a single candidate up for election or up for reelection that can tell you definitively, without a shadow of a doubt, everything is going to happen in the next 4 years. Who can and does know that is God Almighty. And that's the one that we need to put our confidence and our faith in as we move forward as a nation. And remember, Jesus said when he was walking this earth in John chapter 1, verses, I'm sorry, chapter 14, verse 6, it says, Jesus told them, I am the way, the truth, and the light. No man comes to the Father but by me. Nobody gets to God but through Jesus. Guys, remember, we all need Jesus. Okay. So as we move forward as a nation through this election time, please remember to one, respect those that have a difference in opinion than you. This is America and everybody has a right to be wrong. Okay. So remember that. Also remember that the Bible tells us that we are to respect and honor the emperor. We don't have to agree with them, but we have to honor them. That is a command from God, that we are to honor those that are in power, because God is the one who put them there. He knows the plans that he has. He knows that that person's in that office for a specific reason, and it is for God's reason that he's there, whether it is to bring about his coming sooner or to help us prolong our time here on earth. Either way, I'm good with that. So I hope that that was enlightening for you guys as we get into this injury and news segment that we're going to be going here into. But guys, remember, please, whichever way this election goes for you today, remember that the confidence that you need to have is in God Almighty, not in man. So remember that as we move forward with this. Now, we're getting into the fantasy football part of it, and you guys all know, if you watch me any amount of time, you guys know that Zia Rotisserie and Bar is my number one sponsor, or actually my longest sponsor. They've been with me since the beginning. They are located at 235 Duce Road in Lafayette, Louisiana, off of Johnson Street, behind the Grand Theater and in front of Red Laurel's Health Club. And remember, if you are subscribed to this channel, so if you're not and you're watching for the first time, welcome. Down below, subscribe, and when you go down to 235 Duce Road in Lafayette, Louisiana, and you go into Zia, you show them that, and you can get for the table one appetizer of your choice for the table from them on me to you. You guys enjoy. Look, they got the Kung Pao cauliflower, brand new, just on the menu. They've also got the Med hummus, the Mediterranean hummus. Sorry, I abbreviate a lot. The Mediterranean hummus is there as well as the Asian almond shrimp. Guys, you want some seafood? I got you hooked up. Look, you wanted some meat on the bone, literally? I got you with that too, because they've got a 4-bone and a 6-bone rib appetizer that you can get from me just by showing them that you subscribe to my channel. So make sure you go down there and check them out. And if you're in the Lafayette, Louisiana area and you need some catering done, guys, look, Thanksgiving is right around the corner. And right after that, what happens? That's right, Christmas parties. Guys, if you're planning your Christmas party and you need a place to do it, you need somebody to cater it, don't hesitate. Call 337-406-0013. Talk to any of the good people that are going to pick up that phone. Tell them that you need to place a catering order for your Christmas party. Guys, they can either handle you on site at Zia, because they got a back room for VIPs that will definitely handle the party that you need to throw, or they can come to your place and bring the food to you. Whichever one you want, give them a call. Great pricing, great food, great service. You guys make sure you go down there and check out Zia Rotisserie Bar in Lafayette, Louisiana, 235 Duce Road off of Johnson Street in Lafayette. Guys, go down there. Don't make me come and pull you there, because you will have an outstanding time and great service, great food down at Zia. So, guys, we had a flurry of activity today. I'm going to talk about 2 defensive moves that were made. But first, did you guys see the game last night between the Bucks and the Chiefs? That was outstanding. Finally, we're getting good football from the Chiefs, not this just garbage time, 13-16 scores, 13-17, 17-20. Guys, this was some scoring, and DeAndre Hopkins finally came through and turned Patrick Mahomes back into the fantasy quarterback that we all hoped and thought he could still be. Look, we got guys, y'all know Pat Mahomes is a outstanding quarterback in the NFL, but as of late for fantasy, he has been falling short. Not last night. Last night he was off the chain. Him and Baker Mayfield have been playing outstanding football for fantasy. If you have them, congratulations. You probably won, unless you were like my boy D Money, who not only was going up against Baker Mayfield, but was also going up against DeAndre Hopkins um, and Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt didn't do a whole lot last night, but he didn't have to because Pat Mahomes was doing it all with Travis Kelce, with DeAndre Hopkins. So is Travis Kelce back? Is DeAndre Hopkins the second coming of Rashee Rice? I'm thinking so. Now, as far as the Travis Kelce thing goes, we'll do a TBD on that one, okay? But as far as everything else, look, it is wheels up on DeAndre Hopkins. This is what he is capable of being in this offense. Look, Andy Reid knows how to tailor offenses to specific players. The only one that I'm concerned about in this offense is Xavier Worthy. So if you've got Xavier Worthy, you might want to wait until he has a blow up game and then move him as quickly as possible. I know some of you guys are going to have a week 12 trade deadline. Our trade deadline is week 14. So we've got one more month before we really have to make decisions. But don't wait that long. Try to look ahead. If you guys can, look ahead to the playoff schedule and the week 13, week 14 schedule to get you in the playoffs and to carry you to that championship game, and adjust your schedules, your rosters as needed. If you need some help with that, hit me up down below in the comment section and let me know where your issue is, where your problem areas lie, and what you're thinking as far as trades, guys. This is the time to pull trades. You got teams that are panicking, teams that are kind of coasting, teams that are trying to make moves. So take advantage of it. Hit me up. Let me help you out. Guys, you ask anybody that I play with, I am the trade guy. Okay. I facilitate more trades in our league than anybody else, hands down. You don't believe me? Ask anybody that I play with. They will tell you Neil trades a lot. So, moves that were made in the NFL, and like I said, we're going off of two defensive moves. Now, I normally don't talk defense on this channel, but the first one has a warm place in my heart, and I can't help but be giddy about it because it is my boys in Washington. They got Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. Guys, New Orleans Saints lost their head coach. The Raiders lost their OC, their quarterback coach, their offensive line, and I wouldn't be too surprised if Antonio Pierce, the head coach in Vegas, was soon out the door as well. Guys, the Raiders are falling apart, and Washington took advantage of New Orleans being willing to part ways with a key piece in their defense because they're looking toward the future. Washington is looking for a playoff run this year. I did not think I was going to be able to confidently say that, but with them leading the division above the Cowboys, above the Eagles, and far above the Giants. Look, the Giants need to change their names to the Midgets because that's what they are right now. It is horrific in New York with the Giants, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, Marshawn Lattimore, now a Washington member. I got a hard time saying Commanders, guys. You're going to have to bear with me, okay? So, anyway, but he is now with Washington. So, I am hyped about that. And, guys, the defense in Washington has been getting better and better and better. They have been hailed as a walkover defense for the good majority of the season. Every single podcast that I listen to, they're getting trashed for being a horrible offense. They're getting targeted for your offensive players to have a great match. But guys face them and they don't do that hot. So I'm hoping that this will wake the nation up to realize that Washington is actually a really good defense and not one to be taken lightly. The next one, Tre'Davious White has now moved to the Ravens. Guys, the Ravens have been a pass funnel. Now, will this one move solve all their worries? Probably not, but it will make it a little more difficult for that number one wide receiver because Tre'Davious White is probably going to shadow that guy, a la Patrick Surtain in Denver. So if you've got that kind of shadowing, that kind of talent, following your number one guy, remember, if you've got the number two in that matchup, he's getting their second best. So if their second best wide receiver is better than the second best quarterback, then you got a good matchup because the number one guy is probably going to be on the number one wide receiver. So that's something to think about in upcoming matchups. Now, moving back to offense, which is what we are all about in fantasy football, Mike Williams, no longer a Charger, no longer a Jet. He is now in the Steel City with Pittsburgh as a member of the Steelers alongside George Pickens. Now, you might be thinking, what does this mean for George Pickens? I personally take this as a plus for the George Pickens owners because they have, if I'm not mistaken, the third easiest schedule the rest of the season for wide receivers. So you can't double George Pickens anymore. You've got to honor what Mike Williams is, plus the fact that if you look at what they're doing in Pittsburgh with Russell Wilson now has basically the equivalent of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett like he did back in Seattle. Now, he's got not as good of a run game because I don't believe Najee Harris is on the same level as Kenneth Walker, but he's definitely got a better defense and he's got a better offensive line. So I'm thinking that Mike Williams is going to do really good with that rest of the season schedule for the Steelers. Now, who's really doing good is my boy Dusty. Not so much this year or this week because he lost to me. Sorry, Dusty. It's not personal, bro. It's his business. But my boy Dusty down at Keller's Bakery in Youngsville, Louisiana, 627 Lafayette Street. They are open Tuesday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Guys, if you are subscribed to this channel, if you haven't yet, subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. Smash the notification button so you know when I drop new content. And go down and see Dusty at Keller's Bakery, and he will get you 2 free cookies. No purchase necessary, just for being a subscriber to Faith and Football. And while you're down there, look, you don't have to buy anything to get the cookies, but once you hit that door, I'm telling you right now, the smell will overtake you, and you will definitely want to get a dozen donuts. You want to get a pie. You might even want to get a king cake. Yes, it's not king cake season, but they will still do a king cake for you. Maybe you got a birthday coming up. Look, they will do birthday cakes for you, whatever you want. Go down there, check them out. 627 Lafayette Street, Youngsville, Louisiana. Not the one downtown, the one in Youngsville. Make sure you're getting the right colors for this deal. So go down there, check them out. And remember, Thanksgiving, guys, we are like 3 weeks away from Thanksgiving. I can't believe it's almost here. And I can almost taste that lemon meringue pie that I'm wanting for my Thanksgiving Day table, along with the pecan pie that's going to be coming along with it. So make sure you're getting down there, you're getting your orders in, and you hit up Dusty at Keller's Bakery in Youngsville, Louisiana. Make sure you go down there and check them out Tuesday through Saturday, 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. And make sure that you tell them that Neil sent you from Faith and Football. Pick up 2 free cookies. And down below, let me know what you got and how you enjoyed it and what else you got in addition to the 2 freebies that I'm getting you guys. So Next up, Khalil Herbert now moves from Chicago to the Bengals. So he goes from Chicago, Illinois to Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, the reason that he's going, and we're going to talk about this a little later, Zach Moss is out for the rest of the season with a neck injury. If you guys saw this past week, you saw that Chase Brown was getting all the love. He was getting all the work in that Cincinnati offense. Now, as I said preseason, if Cincinnati thought that Chase Brown was their workhorse, that they had the faith that he would make it through the season unscathed and not have to worry about getting a serviceable backup to work alongside of him, they wouldn't have gone and gotten Zach Moss. If they thought that Chase Brown could just be the workhorse and be fine, and their third string was enough. Now, is Khalil Herbert a insurance back? Is he just break glass in case of? I don't think so. I think that this is going to be a committee, that this is still going to be just the way they did with Zach Moss and Chase Brown, they're going to do with Khalil Herbert and Chase Brown. Khalil Herbert, if you remember a couple of years back, I know he's a couple of years older, but this guy was a league winner down the stretch. He hasn't been used a lot this season. Chicago was able to let him go. This also brings up the fact that Roschon Johnson apparently becomes relevant again. I like Roschon myself personally. If I had room on my roster, he would definitely be there because going down this stretch run, you guys want to make sure that you're getting those insurance backs to back up the starters. So if you got Breece Hall, you want to have Braylon Allen. Okay. If you've got James Conner, you want Trey Benson or DeMarcado. Now, personally, I like Trey Benson. I've seen DeMarcado. I'm not impressed with him, but Trey Benson being a rookie, a little fresher, and just trusted more by this coaching staff. So I would go Trey Benson. But guys like that, if you have a just workhorse running back, you want to have that backup just in case he goes down. Now, what's going to be interesting in one situation is the Chiefs because they've got Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco is due back toward the middle to end of November. So that's something else that we're going to need to talk about later on. Minor news, and I'm not saying that this is minor because it's our arch rivals, the Dallas Cowgirls, but Jonathan Mingo has gone from the Panthers to the Cowboys. He's gone from Bryce Young to now Cooper Rush. So I'm not really seeing any kind of fantasy significance with this move, but it's just something to note. Keep an eye out, see how he does. If you've got room on your roster, sure, go ahead and throw him on. He goes to a better situation, probably more usage. But right now, the terminology that we use in fantasy football is a jag. He's just a guy. Right now in this Cowboys offense, there's CeeDee Lamb and then there's everybody else. So CeeDee Lamb is dealing with injury right now, so everybody else is able to step up, and we don't know who it's going to be because it's a new quarterback. So speaking of Dallas, let's get into the injuries. We're going to run through it. Dak Prescott. If you watch this game, you saw him go out with a hand injury, but you also saw them go back and they slow played this throw that he made, and he grimaced as he threw it on the release. It was a hamstring injury that apparently is a lot worse than what was initially reported. So, with him having this hamstring injury, he's going to be out multiple weeks. So, Cooper Rush is now going to be the quarterback in Dallas. Now, most people would go, oh, man, this is horrible. This is bad. Pump the brakes. And I hate to say this, but I remember when Cooper Rush had to make that start for Dak for about the first half of the season last year. And this kid is legit. So if you've got Dak Prescott, if he is your only quarterback, yes, you want to get a backup, but you might want to get this backup because this dude was absolutely phenomenal for the Cowboys in fill-in of Dak Prescott the last time we saw him in action. So with that, with the addition of Jonathan Mingo, you don't really know who he is going to gravitate to. So it it's a TBD on all of the receivers in Dallas. Now, with Rico Dowdle, Rico is the running back to have in Dallas. He is a guy to hold on to or trade for rest of season. Okay, because they're gonna have to rely on the run game. And I don't see Dalvin Cook doing it. I was not impressed when I saw him. Zeke Elliott is disgruntled right now. He was actually disciplined last game. He was a healthy inactive on last game because he wasn't happy, and they basically said, "Sit down, Zeke, and we'll catch you next week." So there's a little trouble in Cowboy land in the backfield. But as far as Rico Dowdle goes, look, I told you guys preseason that I like this guy, and it hurt my heart to say it, but I got to be legit with you guys and honest with you. This kid is legit running back for fantasy. So hold on to him, start him, fire him up, roll with him, wheels up, whatever else you want to say about him. Now another guy who and by the way, the estimated time for Dak to be back, possibly Thanksgiving if he doesn't hit IR first. So keep an eye. Now, all of these injuries I'm going to be talking about, please monitor each situation that is relative to your fantasy league. So, AJ Brown, not a serious injury. He did avoid a serious injury. He's not supposed to go to IR, and he possibly could not even miss time. He could go against Dallas this week, week 10. So that's something to keep an eye on. Amari Cooper is listed as day-to-day with a wrist injury. He was a scratch this past week. So that's something to keep an eye on. Let's see, what else we got? We have Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is dealing with a minor ankle injury. He is likely to play in week 10. CeeDee Lamb dealing with an AC joint sprain. Guys, we saw this with Jordan Mason with the 49ers dealing with a similar injury. He came down awkward on his shoulder after catch, was not the same after that. So if you've got CeeDee Lamb, this is definitely something you want to monitor. It doesn't say whether or not he's going to be out any extended period of time, but he will probably miss some practice this week. So see when he misses it, how long he's out, things like that. You could be in danger of losing CeeDee Lamb for week 10 against the Eagles. So keep an eye on that. Drake London, he is dealing with not only a hip pointer injury, he's also dealing with an oblique strain. He is listed as week to week. Now, I want you to notice the wording on this: week to week, not day to day. Day to day, we can deal with. When it's week to week, you might want to plan on Drake London being out of your lineup this coming week for week 10. So, AJ Brown, next up. AJ Brown, I just talked about him. He left with a knee injury. He is listed as day to day, so that's something that you're going to be monitoring. MRI revealed no structural damage, so that's good. And he might even have a chance, like I said, he might even have a chance to play this week against Dallas. So just make sure that you keep keeping an eye on that situation. Keon Coleman, the rookie wide receiver for the Bills, he is out with a wrist injury. This is a situation to monitor because no other news is known as of yet. But he is, let's see, it's reported that he will be getting tests done on his wrist. Also, Amari Cooper, like I said, did not play also due to a left wrist injury. But he was limited all 3 days prior to the game. So it's something to keep an eye on. In that situation, Khalif Shakir, the last man, well, one of the last men standing in Buffalo, would definitely be somebody that if he's on your waiver wire, that's somebody you want to go pick up because he might be extremely valuable down the stretch if these two guys continue to deal with the wrist injuries. Now, this next wide receiver, this guy, we were shocked that he even was able to tweet anything, to send anything out on IG. This is Chris Olave. He got hit on a crossing pattern in game, was carried off on a stretcher, definitely lost consciousness, and was taken to the hospital. Now, he did make the trip back home with the team. So prayers and everything going out to Chris Olave and his family. So hopefully, he recovers fully and is able to, to get better soon. But he is in concussion protocol. He is likely to hit IR along with Rashid Shaheed, who is already lost for the season. Now, with Chris Olave out, this means that Juwan Johnson, not Juwan Jennings, Juwan Johnson, does shoot up a little bit. Alvin Kamara could probably be leaned on a little more. And I'm not really sure who else on New Orleans is going to step up, but those two guys are definitely going to be a little more heavily involved in the passing game. We could also see a whole lot more of Taysom Hill. So if you have Taysom Hill on your waiver wire, that's somebody that you want to pick up as well and check that out. This one hits me personally. Darius Slayton is in concussion protocol. He is considered week to week. He left the game Sunday against Washington. So he didn't pass the test on the sideline, so that's why he was ruled out. Now, the Giants do go on a bye in week 11. So with this week 10 matchup coming up, I don't think that Darius Slayton would be available for this coming week. But if you've got Malik Neighbors, this is good news for you. Also, if you have Wan'Dale Robinson, this is outstanding news and a waiver wire pickup, possibly if you're hurting in wide receiver, Jalen Hyatt. So Jalen Hyatt, the third receiver in Philly, remember, they're going up against a Dallas team that is struggling. Okay. So this could be, I'm sorry, not Dallas team. I'm thinking Philly. My bad. But yeah, so Darius Slayton out for the week, probably week 10, by week 11. Sorry, guys, want to make sure wasn't catching any delayed trade news for you guys. But Wan'Dale Robinson definitely takes an uptick, and Malik Neighbors hopefully can get back on track with Daniel Jones. Now, guys, if you were leaning on Eric Alt Jr. and you were wondering why did Mike Gesicki do so well this past week, that is because Eric Alt Jr. tore his ACL and he is done for the year. So if you were holding on to him as backup tight end, which I don't know why you have a backup tight end, but okay, you can officially drop him. Also, make sure that any guys who are on your bench or on your IR, if they have been listed as out for the season, or they're not going to be available until like week 18, or team just might hold them, please go ahead and drop them. They're just taking up a spot on your bench. Couple of additional notes that we're gonna do here. If you guys saw the game last night, I talked about it a little earlier in the episode. Patrick Mahomes, you saw him go down after that touchdown pass that he threw. So he rolled his ankle. If you saw the end game interview, he had rolled his ankle the week before. He rolled his ankle again this week. It's something to keep an eye on. I don't see it as a major hindrance for him moving forward. Now, one guy that I know everybody saw was Jordan Love struggling with Green Bay. Um, they were in really poor conditions in Lambeau. This kid should not even have been playing. Okay, they had Malik Willis. Sorry, I got Malik Neighbors on the brain. I haven't seen a whole lot from him, and he's been on my bench. Forgive me. But Malik Willis is a capable backup quarterback. Why he wasn't starting and they were forcing Jordan Love to be out there with a groin injury is beyond me. So he played through a lot of pain. I don't I was about to say I don't think the coaching staff would put him through again, but you never know. Um, so I I would definitely monitor the Jordan Love situation moving forward. He was definitely not 100%. This kid was running, maybe 40%. So he does go up against Chicago week 11, and that's not going to be good. So if they don't give him time to rest and time to get better, then that's definitely not going to be good. Let me give you guys real quick a bye weeks. So let's talk bye weeks for week 10. We've got 4 teams on bye. We got Cleveland, we got Green Bay. So Jordan Love gets a chance to heal up. Seattle is on a bye this week. So that means that DK Metcalf gets to heal up as well. And we expect him back after week 10 bye for week 11. And the Raiders. So the Raiders are going to have time to find out who their coaching staff is on offense and hopefully implement some kind of play with that. I'm praying that as a Brock Bowers owner, that they get him a little more involved. I know he's been involved. I know he's been useful for fantasy, but look, with the lack of offensive weapons that they have right now, he is their best bet. I know Jakobi Meyers has been doing well, but Brock Bowers or Jakobi, yeah, I said Jakobi Meyers. Jakobi Meyers has been doing good, but Brock Bowers is the man, and he needs to be treated as such and schemed into the offensive scheme moving forward. So Raiders, please get this guy a little more involved. Okay. So you got that coming up for week 10, guys. Reminder, week 12 is Bipocalypse. So week 12, just to recap, just a reminder, who's on a bye? 6 teams: Atlanta, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, the Jets, the Saints, and the Bills. All of those teams are on a bye. That is a massive loss of talent. Make sure that you are looking ahead and planning accordingly for your team. Okay. So let's get back to injuries. One guy that is, I'll give you guys a positive note. I like to try to bring a little positivity when I talk injuries. So, any CMC owners, all those guys that are sitting out there at 2-7, Nick, I'm talking to you. Or actually, I think Nick won. So Nick is 3-6 right now. So congratulations. But he has been waiting and dying for CMC to return to the field and make his season debut in week 9 or week 10. So hopefully he'll be out there because week 9 was the 49ers bye week. And that's when anybody who owns Jordan Mason just needs to hold on and see if CMC can come back full strength. Now, if he can, don't let go of Jordan Mason. Hang on to him. He is the elite of the backup insurance running backs at the position. So CMC's practice window has been open. He is at practice. So, pardon me. So make sure you guys are keeping an eye on that for any CMC owners, anybody who picked up Isaac Guerrero off of waivers, anybody who is continuing to hold or even traded for Jordan Mason. This is something that you're going to want to see. You want to keep an eye on. I personally will not be starting Jordan Mason this coming week, but I will keep an eye closely glued to the injury report coming out for the 49ers. Let's see. Jawan Jennings, he's got a hip injury. He is back at practice. So that's a positive for the 49ers, who are extremely depleted at wide receiver. So if you've got Jawan Jennings coming up, they're out Brandon Ayuk. Debo is dinged up, not to the point of missing time, but anybody who has George Kittle is probably going to take a hit with Jawan Jennings coming back. So that's something to keep an eye out for as well. T. Higgins is probably not going to play because they have an early game coming up. It is Thursday Night Football on Prime. If you guys have Amazon Prime, you can watch this game. If not, I encourage you to go get Amazon Prime. You can watch Thursday Night Football and Downton Abbey. So, I mean, win-win. Can't lose on that one. Yes, I'm a Downton Abbey guy. Matter of fact, that is my team name on the Megala Bowl. Shout out to the Ballers. So T. Higgins, short week, has a quad injury. He's probably out. He's probably not going to be playing. They had a projected practice report come out. If they had practice, he would not have been in practice. Don't make me explain that. If you need help down below, leave me a comment. I'll explain that in the comment section. But T. Higgins probably out. Andre Yoshivas, guys, this is a sneaky ad if you want to add somebody to your roster and kind of slide them in on the smooth. If you've got somebody that's out this week, maybe you've been starting Cedric Tillman the last couple of weeks and he's out on a bye week. Andre Yoshivas, definitely somebody that you want to pay attention to because they're going up against the Ravens. It's going to be Cincinnati versus Baltimore, divisional matchup. Two teams that are just scoring bonanza of points. It's crazy how many points these teams are scoring. Last week, Joe Burrow, 5 touchdowns. Guys, get Yoshivas on your squad, okay? They're not all going to go to Mike Gesicki. They're not all going to go to Jamar Chase. He's going to spread this out. And I don't care who they added. Tre'Davious White, they could have added Derek White. I don't care. Whoever Baltimore added, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be, in the scheme. He might be on the field, but he's not being in the scheme of things. So some coverages could be blown. You never know. I would much rather play against Baltimore on a short week than anybody right now if I'm a pass catcher. Okay. So something to keep an eye out. Also, Mike Evans still out 4 weeks with a hamstring. Nico Collins possibly could be back from IR. Something to keep an eye on. The wording that's been coming out of Houston, he could make it back for this week, but that's not really a positive. So keep an eye out for that one as well. Brian Robinson Jr., running back for my Washington team, is out with a hamstring injury, another situation to monitor. So if you've got Austin Eckler, definitely want him, to possibly be in your lineup, depending upon the matchup. But we'll go over some of that on Thursday's episode. So once you guys tune in for that one, make sure down below, subscribe, like, share, all that kind of good stuff. Smash notification so you know when I put out new content. So guys, that's about all the injuries that I have. If you have some that you're dealing with that I didn't mention, down below, hit me up in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know where you're listening from or where you're watching from. And guys, that's about it. But before I do go, I always have to mention my last but definitely not least sponsor, Amis Grocery, down at 603 Jefferson Street in Lafayette, Louisiana, inside of Gordon Square. Guys, if you were in the Lafayette, Louisiana area and you find yourself downtown before 5 o'clock, maybe you're down there and maybe you work downtown, maybe you're from out of town, you're visiting, go down and check out Amish Groceries downtown. They're more than just a grocery store. They have a kitchen. They change menu daily. They got a little chalkboard out front. Check and see what they got going on. It is always delicious food. I've never smelled anything bad coming out of this kitchen. It is absolutely phenomenal. They've got a walking taco on Tuesday. A little taco bowl. You can walk around while you're sightseeing and eat on the taco bowl while you're there. If you like muffaladas, like from down in New Orleans, go down and check them out. They've got some muffalata sliders that are out of this world. And maybe you work in the area and you're just tired and you don't want to cook and you want somebody else to take care of the meal, but you don't feel like going out and spending the money on a restaurant. They got you covered. They got some pre-made meals. Go down there and check out my boy Bradley at Ami's Grocery. They have over 200 local items from over 50 local vendors, farm fresh eggs, Wagyu beef jerky from that's local, freeze dried candy, guys. If you haven't tried the ice cream sandwiches, they are delicious. You don't believe me? Ask my tech crew, aka my wife. She devours them, and she always requests them every time I go down and see them. So make sure you go down to 603 Jefferson Street, Lafayette, Louisiana, inside of Gordon Square, and check out Ami's Grocery downtown. Okay, guys, we will talk to you next time. I hope and pray that your election night goes how you wanted it. Well, unless you're voting for the wrong person, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, guys, I hope your season is at least going the way that you wanted it. If not, hit me up and I'll try to help you out the best I can. Hopefully, these episodes are helping you out. If they are, let me know down below. If you've got questions, ask them. Remember, there are no stupid questions. I know it's cliche, but if you don't ask, you don't know, right? So make sure you hit me up, and we will see you guys next time on Faith in Football with my start set for week 10. Guys, we got one more month, and then we hit the playoffs. Let's fire it up. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's get that championship belt around our waist, okay? Or at least keep it under the roof, okay? Guys, we'll see you next time on Faith in Football. And remember, football's good, but God is greater. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. God bless.